Live from the Grant Price Studio in the McElroy Communication Arts Center with news that you need to know. This is KnightWatch.
Good evening, Cedar Valley. I'm Ben Hoppenworth. Welcome to KnightWatch. Tonight's show is all about everyone's favorite Knights choir, Ritterchor. We'll talk everything from Castle Capers to the Real Men Sing Choir Festival. But before we get started, let's take a look at what made headlines this past week with KnightWatch news anchor Kelsey Bemis. Kelsey?
Thank you, Ben. Governor Terry Branstad announced a new reform on education this week, putting more focus on the teachers. Branstad is requesting changes in the way teachers are paid. He also wants tougher standards for measuring student performance. By paying teachers based partially on performance, Branstad hopes that the new reform will improve the quality of Iowa teachers. As for students, third graders would have to pass a literacy test before moving on to fourth grade. Republican presidential candidate Michelle Bachmann returned to Iowa this week. Bachmann held a town hall gathering in Sioux City Monday and has been traveling around the state since then. It is her first time visiting Iowa since her straw poll victory nearly 2 months ago. Since then, Bachmann's campaign has been struggling. Mitt Romney and Rick Perry currently top most polls. Many Republicans are also calling for New Jersey Governor Chris Christie to enter the race. Rumors are flying about the release of the new iPhone. Expected to go on sale later this month, the new iPhone is expected to cost around $200 with a 2-year service contract. Although Verizon and AT&T are the only current carriers of the iPhone, the Wall Street Journal reports that Sprint has reached an agreement to carry the phone as well. The new phone will be skinnier, shorter, and wider. There is also talk of an upgraded camera, new voice recognition software, and Apple unveiling an additional iPhone as well. The second would be a cheaper phone with less storage. With Halloween right around the corner, costume retailers are weighing in on this year's most popular Halloween costumes. The nation's biggest costume retailer, Spirit Halloween, says that troubled actor Charlie Sheen tops this year's list as the most desirable costume. Sheen masks run for about $20 on Spirit's website. Shirts with Sheen's infamous phrase, "winning," also run for the same price. Also for sale are winning brand fake cigarettes or a Charlie Sheen-style fedora. Favorite costumes will also include Lady Gaga and Snooki, along with her Jersey Shore castmates. An 83-year-old woman finished her 53rd marathon in Minneapolis last Sunday. Janine Jolson began participating in marathons at age 58 and says she will continue to run as long as she can. A new family member joined Jolson at each mile of the race. This particular marathon had special meaning to Jolson because it was on her birthday. A breast cancer survivor, Jolson says for her, the race was about celebrating life. She also dedicated the race to her granddaughter, who is currently battling a nerve tissue disorder. For more news, tune in Monday night at 8 for WTV8 News. Now back to Ben for more KnightWatch.
Thanks, Kelsey. When we return, Wartburg Choir's fearless leader, Dr. Lee Nelson, is here to talk about what it means to be a real man in the choir world. We'll be right back. Welcome back to KnightWatch. My first guest tonight is the choir director here at Wartburg. He's been here for the last 3 years. Please welcome to the studio, Dr. Lee Nelson. All right, thanks for being here, Dr. Nelson.
Thank you.
So now you've got a lot of responsibilities here at Wartburg. How many choirs do you even look after?
I have 2 primary choirs, Wartburg Choir and then the Ritterchor, who's hosting the Real Men Sing this weekend, and then I'm the faculty advisor for Festerberg, which is a 9-man a cappella group on campus.
Okay, and then are any one choirs like a little more difficult to deal with than others, or?
No, they're all fantastic. They're very different from each other. Wartburg Choir sings sacred a cappella literature. It's kind of a different feel to it. Ritterchor is just a wonderful time. A bunch of guys who love to sing, love to have a great time. It feels more like a locker room at times than a choir room. It's so much fun.
Yeah. And like my question with Ritterchor, we have a video here. I found it online, so it could go viral.
Oh,
from this show. Let's take a look. We'll show that here in a sec. So the biggest question with that is really, Did you have any say in that? Did you know they were doing that?
Well, I did know. Yes, I did. I did know that they're doing it every year for Castle Capers. The Ritterchor comes up with a special act that they put together, and we've got our leadership group, which is the what we call the Ritterchor Council. Every year, they take charge of Castle Capers, and they choose a piece of music, and every year they try to one up each other with what they did. And last year was a pretty big highlight year for them.
Yep. So, are you at liberty to say what's on the menu for
this
year's Castle Capers?
I wish I could. I can't. There's a couple of ideas floating around out there.
You're a senior member of Ritterchor is given the fancy title of president. This year's president joins me in the studio. Please welcome Eric Funk. Thank you for being here, Eric.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, how did you first get involved with Ritterchor?
Well, it was one of those things where I actually was not in it my freshman year. I thought I had too much on my schedule and whatnot, so I decided to, I went with them to the Real Men Sing Festival up in Minnesota that Dr. Nelson talked about on your previous clip there. And I really loved what they did. I loved, the energy, the fun songs they were singing, how much fun and how it captivated people. So I told him that day, actually, I was like, well, I'm going to join Ritterchor. And he's like, oh, you're going to join it at semester? I was like, no, I'm going to join right now. So I just kind of hung around and got more and more involved, and next thing I knew, I was president. So.
All right. So you seem to have a lot of fun with Ritterchor. You guys have a lot of fun up there. Now we have a video up here. We showed it to Dr. Nelson as well. I want to get your take on it as well. So let's take a look at. We've got another segment of that as well. Possibly.
Can you guys at least do like some German maybe? Something special? Yeah. Okay.
So the biggest question is, which one are you up there, honestly?
Well, you couldn't exactly see me for that part because I had ran into the back, but I was wearing a Cookie Monster shirt and a dress coat with matching Cookie Monster underwear. So you couldn't see me in that one, but I was hanging out up there, having a little bit of fun. So.
All right. Now, one thing I noticed up there, one guy was actually wearing pants, and he was actually in a chicken costume.
He sure was.
What's the story behind that?
Well, here's kind of the story behind the chicken costume. It had been around for a couple years, and people were talking about it. And then it really caught fire my last year. And the deal was that I was chicken costume my junior year. My sophomore year I was chicken costume. And then the year after that, I gave it to a guy the day of and said, you're the chicken this year. So that's kind of the running story going on there, is that you don't know you're the chicken until the day of the concert, and it's in everything we do.
Ritterchor, what's your best memory being in Ritterchor so far?
Oh, geez. I can't really put my finger on exactly one. For me, it's just getting ready for performances, especially the day of. Everybody's kind of giddy and jumping around, and you should see me jump. It's awful, but it's just we just have a lot of fun with that. And there's a couple pre-warm-up rituals that we do. We have to do this thing called kuncha, and we just move around really fast, and we just have a lot of fun like that. Those are always the memorable things for me. And some of the songs we've sang, Johnny Schmoker last year, which was just a really funny, kind of moving, animated song. Stuff like that.
This music festival is coming on. This choir festival is coming up on Saturday. What is your guys' role in that here?
Well, as Dr. Nelson said, it's Real Men Sing, and that's what we're trying to show. We're trying to show these kids that they can sing, and singing can be cool. It can be cool to be in a guy's choir, especially a choir, like Ritterchor, because we have fun and we goof off and we play around, but then we make awesome music. And that's the part that kids, in high school especially, they have to fight that stigma. Well, I'm in choir, so, I'm not cool. I can't do sports in choir. I can't do this in choir. We try and show you that it's A-okay to do it, to do it all. Our whole thing is just kind of leading the kids and showing them, letting them sing with us is a big thing too, because then they get to experience what it's like to be in a choir of a high caliber. And we have had just, in the last year we did it, and then the year up in Minnesota, the response that we've gotten from people that just, ate it up, and their choirs grew exponentially because of it, and and their guys come to Wartburg to sing, and it's just awesome. That's why we do it.
All right, and then there's I believe a big performance at the end of the night on Saturday.
Yep, there is. There's a big concert. Ritterchor has their own set, and a couple other groups. Contus has a set. Festerberg also has a set, the nine-man group here on campus. And then at the very end, it's an entire it's the entire choir. There's about 450 people involved in singing here. And so that's, and we just have a couple songs here, a couple songs there, but it's just to give them that experience of singing, in a choir of 450 men.
Okay. All right, well, thank you so much for coming by.
Not a problem.
Tonight. All right, and when we return, 3-year Ritterchor veteran Ian B. will be here to talk about his experience in the Knights Choir over the last 3 years. We'll be back in 2 minutes with more Night Watch.
No problem.
All right, so what's it like been? How's it been for the last 3 years in Ritterchor?
It's been great. I mean, that was the first choir I got into, and then I got into singers the year after that. But Ritterchor was the first thing that I really got involved with when I came to school here. So long ago, I guess. Seems like a short time, but yeah, junior here now. But I love Ritterchor. This is where I've met my first friends at school. 2 of my roommates right now are in Ritterchor. It's pretty much been one of the best experiences here at Wartburg.
All right, so we just had the president, Eric, on here. I'm sure he's not watching anymore. So in all honesty, what are your thoughts of Eric as president?
What are my thoughts on Eric? Well, that's a good question. First of all, his beard is magnificent, I would say. But no, he's a very capable.
All right, well, thank you very much for being here tonight. That's all the time we have for this week's edition of Night Watch. I'd like to thank our guests, Wartburg Choir Director Dr. Lee Nelson, Ritterchor President Eric Fonk, as well as Ian B. You can find out more about the Ritterchor and Real Men Sing Choir Festival this Monday night on WTV8 News. And we'll have a good night, Cedar Valley.